Welcome, and thank you for joining me for today's summary and meditation of the Wisdom of the Zodiac. Today's presentation will be taken from Gita Saraydarian's Wisdom of the Zodiac, Volume 4, Chapter 37, titled Pisces, the Symbolism of the Fish. Pisces is a very interesting sign, and it is the 12th sign of the Zodiac, and it is the culmination of the year's work that we have done, or perhaps 12 years, or 12 lifetimes, or hundreds of lifetimes of work, where we finally reach spiritual maturity. What is spiritual maturity? Briefly, it is being able to have a clear direction in life, to be a person of compassion, a person of wisdom, a person who is dependable, and a person who is truly involved in understanding of what is going on in life all around, and to be able to be a server for humanity, not just one's own nation or one's own family, but all of humanity. So it is a spiritual mature person is a person who has learned to be decentralized. Life is not all about him or her. Now, how does this come about? Of course, it comes about through our monthly study, meditation, striving. And so these instructions are nothing but a way to give us the wisdom to be observant and conscious about life. Let me begin by reading the first 3 paragraphs of this chapter, because I feel that they give the foundation for understanding the observation of a full moon period. From page 449, first paragraph reads, "At every full moon period, the sun transmits to us the energy of the constellation or zodiacal sign through which it is passing." Right? Each constellation is an electromagnetic sphere, and at the full moon time, our planet receives much more energy from the constellation. The energy first passes through our sun and is then transmitted to the earth. The esoteric wisdom is telling us that there are periods in our life, monthly periods, where we have certain opportunities that we can either ignore or take advantage of. For example, if the sun is shining outside, it's a beautiful day, you can either take advantage of it, go out and play and picnic and have a great time and enjoy yourself and become healthy in your outdoor activities, or you can ignore it, and so it doesn't do you any good. So observing a full moon period is important for the reason that it makes us conscious of what is going on around us, not just in ourselves, but all around us, the great life of the universe. What is it doing? And the esoteric wisdom tells us there's wisdom, there's direction, there's purpose in life. It's not just about being born, living, and dying, and then nothing happens. So there's a purpose and a reason. And so in our monthly observation, this is what we learn. The second paragraph is really a very important and beautiful paragraph, and it reads, "A great sage says that at the time of the full moon, a window of cosmic consciousness opens. When people attune with each other and with their spiritual values at this time, the energy from the constellation comes and touches their consciousness and may cause an expansion." So let me explain that a little bit more fully. What does cosmic consciousness mean? Let's first start with consciousness. What does consciousness mean? Consciousness means to be able to communicate with ever greater existence around us, to be observant and aware, and to be keenly aware of what is going on multiple layers. So for example, we can have the consciousness of our bodies or in our physical environment. We can have the consciousness of our emotional life and on our mental life, and then going deeper in our spiritual life, to be conscious of the way our essence, our soul behaves and interacts. As we grow in our consciousness, we become aware of the physical life all around us, how other people are feeling and doing and thinking, and how we relate to them as souls, and we relate to them in their essence. So for example, if we take the consciousness of a very well-trained and professional dancer performing an event on stage, she is going to be very physically conscious of her movements, the music and the rhythm and the conductor and the whole orchestra, as well as the entire audience. And she is going to be very aware of her feelings, what she's trying to express in her movements and her thinking process, so she's remembering the movements. And also be very conscious of the physical, emotional, and mental existence of all the dancers on stage and what is going on all around her. So a person is not in isolation, whether we are living every day or we are on stage performing as dancers, musicians, writers, or whatever, teachers, but we are at every given moment of our life, we are observant, open, aware, cognizant of what is going on around us. So at the time of the full moon, a window of cosmic consciousness opens. You can imagine what that means. You can think about what that means. What does it mean to be cosmically aware of what's going on around me? So how does that work for us? In 3 different ways. When people attune with each other, that means that immediately when a full moon period occurs, you are attuned to other people. You are not just about yourself. You open a window and you look at how are they feeling, how are they thinking, what's going on all around me in the world. So first you attune yourself, becoming aware and observant of what is going on around you in the physical, emotional, and mental and spiritual sense. Second, we attune with our spiritual values. So we don't just say we are compassionate, we are kind and loving. We are not just ourselves lovers of beauty and goodness and joy and righteousness, but we hold those values and we attune to those values in each other. Do you see how that works? So that I am not just seeing myself as somebody who loves to be righteous, but I see that same righteousness in you and in all other people. And I don't have this negative, pessimistic attitude about life and people around me. So I immediately open that bridge of communication through these principles with other people. You see how it works? It's really, really beautiful. Now, when these 2 things are available, we are in tune with each other and we are in tune with our higher principles and values, then the energy that comes from the constellation that is aligned with the sun and to our planet can touch our consciousness, our expanding field of consciousness, our expanding field of awareness, our observation, and immediately it may make changes in us. It's really interesting. It says, may cause an expansion, which means it is all up to us. You can have the most beautiful music outside, the most beautiful books around, the greatest teachers, the most beautiful, perfect day. And if you are living in a cave, it makes absolutely no difference until you take the steps to step out of that cave, to be in freedom, to enjoy what life is offering you. So this is a very important and pivotal paragraph that applies to every full moon observation in esoteric wisdom. Now the 3rd paragraph is also very, very important. It says the progress of humanity, the progress of all humanity, not just you or me or small groups, depends on whether people expand their consciousness. This is very, very true. We cannot just think in isolation. I can't think simply as an American, as a woman, as a teacher or a business owner. I have to think of myself in human consciousness in order to know how to relate with you and with people all around me. We have to expand our consciousness. When we do, then humanity can expand and heal itself. As we expand our consciousness, we relate with each other in better ways. That's true, isn't it? Instead of looking at each other and saying, you are this color, that religion, this national identity, we relate with the essence in us, the beauty in us, the soul that is prevalent in all of us, the God that is prevalent in all of us. We have a higher sense of values. That is true, because when I combine my values with yours, it expands. For example, if I have a sense that this kind of music is beautiful, and I listen to the kind of music that you think is beautiful, it expands my appreciation of music, appreciation of beauty, appreciation of culture and expression. So we expand when we share values. We then have a clearer direction in life and purer goals. That is really, really important. And when we consider what goes on in life all around us right now, the kind of abuse and neglect and non-observance of the rule of law in so many parts in our life of the whole planet, we can see that it is very important for all of us to think in terms of the whole, not just me, not just my family, not just my group or my nation, but the whole of humanity has to be taken into consideration for all of humanity to change. And we can see, and I see, that wherever I see a positive change, where people care about the way people are fed, clothed, educated, when we care about the health of each other, then all of life grows and changes for the better. Now, when we come to the symbolism of Pisces itself, here are the paragraphs that give us the keynote for it. It is very interesting and beautiful, and you can imagine as I'm reading, or open your book and share with me, what this means. The symbolism of Pisces is very meaningful. In ancient times, the constellation of Pisces was symbolized by two fish tied together, two fish, with a string. The larger fish symbolizes the human soul. So think of yourself as a big fish, and that is your soul. The smaller fish represents the human personality. In esoteric wisdom, the human personality is made up of the physical, emotional, mental bodies or lives that we have. They are tied together because they influence each other. Isn't that true? How much we are influenced by the way we feel, the way we think, the way we respond to other people. We are not independent and self-contained thinkers. We are always washing through other people's lives. If the personality fish happens to be stronger, which in many cases it is, it pulls the soul fish after itself. Sometimes it's not the whole personality that's stronger, it's one part of that fish that's stronger. For example, our physical life, it pulls us in a direction, or our emotional turmoils pull us in the other direction. In other words, when your personality dominates, your soul is the slave of your personality. So we can see that our soul is the slave many, many times and often of our physical desires, compulsions, of our emotional turbulent seas that we live in, our mental thoughts, and the way we separate and categorize people into this category and that category. So our soul doesn't have a chance to see life as a unified whole until we take into consideration each other's feelings, each other's space, each other's thoughts. So this is very important for us to think about, and think about yourself as a fish, and put yourself in that huge ocean and think, what part of me is getting pulled in that stormy seas of life? How am I being whipsawed from one side to the other, to the whims of other people, or my own whims, my own addictions, my own compulsions? It's a very sobering theme, and you can see why. It is really the sign of the culmination of lifetimes of work, so that we can say at this point we can be a world savior, world server, a mature disciple. And it takes a lot of work. If you've been with me for all these months, you can see month after month, and multiply that lifetime, lifetimes after lifetime, lifetimes. You can see how much work it takes, so that we are not only unified as a personality, but we are unified under the leadership of our soul. The life you live, this is on page 450, very important line. I'd like you to think about, meditate on it, and really take this time to see how your life is finishing up this 12-month cycle. The life you live depends on what kind of fish you are, on which fish controls your life. A fish is a slippery creature. You can't stand on it. You slip off. It wiggles away from you when you try to catch it. Think of how your life exemplifies a wiggly fish. It's interesting, it's funny, and it's sobering to think about. I have time to read you one more beautiful, beautiful paragraph that I think exemplifies the thoughts, the direction, the ethos, the principles that great men and women all over the world operate under this very minute. We have great, great people who care and think about the whole world, and they think in terms of a very key component called generosity. This is on the bottom paragraph on page 453. Let me read it for you. Generosity is nothing else but a way of thinking that other people exist and that they are entitled to share the things that you have. Isn't that a new way of thinking? The old way is mine, and I will kill you to get what I want. But this is thinking in terms of generosity and the rights of other people to have and to share what you enjoy. And if you enjoy a beautiful life, like I do, sitting here in my office and my work, talking to you directly, it's a beautiful life. I want you to share in that same life. And that is called generosity. A generous person renounces his separative I consciousness and thinks of other people as being equal to himself. Now it's important in these 12 months we have gone through nothing consciousness to I consciousness, and now we are going into universal consciousness. So it's a moving, developing, evolving consciousness, going from who you are centralized in yourself, knowing who you are, and then expanding that to a universal consciousness. The generous person renounces his separative I consciousness and thinks of other people as being equal to himself. Equal is very important, that your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your choices are just as important as mine, and they need to be considered. If a person is totally stuck to his I, he has no respect for others. Isn't that true? And he thinks that only he exists. And we have I consciousness of individuals, of tribes, nations, and regions in the world where it is only me and myself. And that has to change. And we see it changing very little bit at a time, but it is encouraging that it is. Forward-thinking people think in terms of generosity. Great benefactors, philanthropists all over the world think in terms of generosity. They share their abundance because in their hearts they know that what I have, I need to share with you. That your suffering is just as important as other people's suffering. Your well-being is just as important as mine, and I need to consider that. But if he recognizes that every human being is a spark of God, that's the key. He starts to respect others. He expands his sense of I consciousness and includes them. These are key words for me that I will take time to think about and meditate on this month, and those are being a spark of God. If we consider all of us having one father, one mother, and knowing that we come from that spark, that every existence in the world is part of that one God, then we have the sense of respect for one another. The way I relate to my whole environment changes. The way I think of other people changes. We expand our I consciousness and we include each other. This is really the foundation of cooperation, group consciousness, expansion. It is really the only way that we can move safely and peacefully into the future. Many great religious and philosophical thinkers have given us the keynote of generosity, of compassion, of caring, of inclusiveness. And this is exactly what the Pisces esoteric symbolism signifies. That we expand our consciousness beyond our environment and think of yourself being in millions of people. That essence is the one, the same. So now we will do the meditation that's in this chapter, and you can refer back to it on pages 459 to 460. I will guide us through it, and it is beautiful. You can say the meditation invocation with me, and then I will guide us on the seed thoughts, and then I will say a mantra more radiant than the sun. I will say it and give you time to repeat it after me. And as always, if you want to stay longer in your meditation, put a hold on the video, go as long as you need, Meditate clearly and with focus. Don't daydream. And when you're done, write down your insights. That's a very important process of meditation. It's scientific meditation, step by step. So you write down your insights, and then you conclude your meditation with blessings to the whole world. So let's do this together. Sit relaxed and sit up. First we will say the great invocation, slow and with meaning. And as we say the great invocation, I will think of you watching with me and listening, and I will think of hundreds, maybe thousands of people all over the world saying this beautiful mantra with us. Okay, close your eyes, sit up straight, take a deep breath and relax. Relax your neck and shoulders. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Let us say 3 ohms, either loud, out loud, or silent. Keeping your eyes closed and staying clear and focused, meditate on the following seed thought. How can I live in the light and shine my light everywhere and be a light in the world? So give 3 answers to each of them. The first one, how do I live in the light? Second one, how do I shine my light? And third, how can I be a light in the world? Visualize yourself as a point of light. Now, one by one, add people to that light around you. They also are lights, so you are increasing one by one the light that you are surrounded with. Take a minute to do that and expand as far as you can go from wherever you are in the world right now. Expand that light and eventually connect it to the light of the groups everywhere in the world. Let's take a few minutes to do that. Now keep your focus on that expanded vision of light, because as a world disciple, you are going to radiate your light, your beauty, everything that you are, to everyone in the world, and eventually to all the worlds, subtle realms all around you. Repeat after me as you visualize. More radiant than the sun, purer than the snow, subtler than the ether is the self, the spirit within my heart. I am that self. That self am I. Take a deep breath and say one more Om. So as you come close to the full moon of Pisces, set a time for that observation, 5 days or 7 days. I like at least 5 days, the day of the full moon, 2 days before and 2 days after. And take each day 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You can surely spare 10 minutes of a day for 5 days of the month. Read a passage, think about it. Think about where your consciousness is right now and how you can expand it. And sometimes think about other people like you who have the same interests, the same heart, the same desire to see peacefulness and compassion increase in the world, and link mentally with them, emotionally with them, and send them your good thoughts, your loving heart, and expand that layer of consciousness that you have by linking with other people. I hope you enjoyed this session, and remember that Pisces is about expanding and becoming eventually a world server. It is not just about us. We can't live in isolation anymore. We have to live in the context of the entire world, embrace all of humanity, and bring the good, the beauty that we have in our life and generously share it with others. That is the only time that we have true joy in our heart and in our life. If you would like to experience the wisdom of the Zodiac in a more detailed and more in-depth fashion, we have monthly classes here at TSG, and you can subscribe to them, and we're happy to send you a link on YouTube or audio version, and you can read and discuss and share with our learned panel discussions. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.